everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how to organize yourself and your home to have a smooth transition back into your normal life after you get home from vacation. If you're anything like me, it is incredibly difficult to transition when you get home from vacation. Maybe you're a little jet lagged. Maybe you have spent a whole week indulging in foods or beverages you wouldn't normally have. The thought of getting back into the swing of things and doing cooking and cleaning and going back to work and getting the kids to school, it's just a lot to take on. So here are my top tips. First, let's talk about the things that I do before I even leave the house. So when we're talking about food and what I am planning to eat and bringing into the home before I even leave, that week before I leave for vacation, I'm trying not to bring too many things into the house that are going to spoil before we return to eat them. So I'm thinking about trying to eat up things that we already have in the house, maybe cooking like one larger meal and having leftovers throughout the week so that I'm not having to spend too much time in the kitchen when I'm still probably doing things like getting my work set up so that I can leave for a week, getting my kids set up to make sure that they have everything they need to leave with, packing everybody up, getting final travel arrangements made. I don't want to spend a lot of time meal planning and prepping and cooking and cleaning and all of that. So I try to get a little bit of that sort of out of the way by planning ahead. Then I also try to go ahead and freeze a meal or two if I'm able, to make it a little easier for when I come home. And we're going to touch more on that in just a few minutes. In terms of having someone in your home, if you do have a house sitter or a pet sitter while you're away, I give them a very detailed list of quite a few things that they may need as far as information while we're gone. And let's go over those basics. So as far as your house goes, they're definitely going to need whatever code they need to get into your house or security system if you have one. You need to give them your Wi-Fi password, especially if they are going to be working from your home while you're away. You want to make sure you give them maybe a neighbor's name and phone number just in case, especially if that's a neighbor that you guys are close with and you want to give them the opportunity to communicate should they need to if something is happening in the neighborhood. The other thing you want to include is you want to make sure that you are leaving them a plumber, electrician, and HVAC or heating and cooling system phone numbers of those people that you use for those services. Because should anything go wrong, you don't want them to panic and not know who to call. It's good for them to have those numbers just in case something happens while you're away. And I also like to sometimes just let my house sitter or pet sitter know when our trash and recycling day is. If you would like them to take care of that while you're away, letting them know what day trash and recycling pickup is and also what time they're expected to have those items out by the curb. If you are having someone take care of any pets while you're away, you want to make sure you're giving them a rough breakdown of what the day-to-day routine is for that pet. What time do you normally wake up? What time do they get let out? What time do they eat meals? And all of that basic information, as well as making sure you are giving them instructions on what they eat. And if you need to portion stuff out, like in our case, we actually make some of our dog's food, like homemade food. So we portion that out in little Ziploc containers while we are away so that the pet sitter is just easy for them to put the meals together. And then if any of your pets are on medication of any kind, you want to make sure you include when they get the medication, the dosage, and how to administer that medication. And then just in case anything goes wrong, definitely make sure you include for that pet sitter where your vet is, the phone number for the vet, just in case they should need to call for any reason. And then just some regular sort of information I like to provide is make sure your house sitter or pet sitter knows when you are returning, where you are going, when you're expected to return, so that they know when they can leave. So for example, if they are watching your dogs and you have a 9 a.m. flight, you're expected home by 3 in the afternoon, they will know approximately what time they can leave so that your pets aren't alone for too long. I also like to include a couple of little extras. So I like to tell them Where would you find my sort of bonus stuff, like if they run out of paper towels, if they run out of toilet paper, if they need extra trash bags, make sure that they know where all those items are in your home, even just the vacuum cleaner or a broom or mop in case something should spill and they need to clean it up quickly. And then I also like to throw in a few other extras, like let them know where our favorite takeout spots are in case they want to order in. You could maybe even include a little gift card to like Grubhub or Uber Eats in case they want to get some food delivered to your house. Make sure you write down the address of your home and any instructions you would normally give to a delivery person. Like, for example, our dogs go bananas when someone rings the doorbell. So I would normally just note to any delivery person, just leave, items at front door. You could include that. And then I also like to give them any information about where we normally would bring our pets for like exercise. So if there's a certain dog park you like to visit local to you, or a certain walk route or even beach that your dogs are allowed to walk on, you could include that information as well. Okay, so let's talk about what happens after you get back from your trip. So what do you want to experience when you come home? One thing that I like to do, and this might be slightly type A or controversial, but I'm going to share it. I start putting together a grocery pickup order before I even leave my house, because I know the basics that I'm going to need. I know I'm going to need to buy milk. I know I'm going to need bananas or things for lunches, deli meat, bread, eggs, things like that. I know what the basics are that I'm going to need when I return. So I get those going on a list before I even leave. And then either the night before or even sitting in the airport waiting for our return flight, I will finish that grocery pickup order or even delivery order, and then finalize it and select a time for pickup or delivery. That way I know that when I get home, I don't have to think about that stuff. It's already planned and ready to pick up or being delivered to my house. In addition to talking about food, when you come home that first night, have a plan in place for what you're going to feed your family. If you have leftovers in the freezer that you froze before you left, awesome. Pull those out, defrost them, and you're ready to go. Or maybe think about adding to that grocery pickup order something like a rotisserie chicken, a bag of salad mix, and a loaf of bread or something, so you can throw something together quickly that is healthy. Also, it's a great idea to make sure that you have bed linens that are ready to go. So the last thing you want to do when you get home from a long day of traveling, you take your shower in your bathroom with your toiletries, and you want to get into your bed that you've probably been missing while you're on vacation. And you don't want to have to deal with, oh no, we have to wash the sheets before we go to bed. So I always have a clean set of sheets ready to go. And I might even ask my home sitter or pet sitter to throw those on for me before they leave, because that just makes it even easier. Also, before I leave for vacation, I try to do at least a minimal amount of cleaning in my home. It doesn't have to be deep clean, but you don't want to walk into your house after vacation and realize you've got a lot of cleaning to do, in addition to the laundry that you're bringing home. So I try to do just the basics before I leave. I clean the bathrooms, I clear off and clean the countertops, run the dishwasher, maybe vacuum or sweep the floors, depending on what kind of floors you have. It's so much nicer to come home to a home that is at least decently clean and ready to be used and lived in again. One other thing that I like to do is involving my car. So if you are not driving your car to your travel destination, or bringing your car with you if it's a road trip, if you're leaving your car at home or leaving it at the airport or a bus station of some variety, I do two things. I fill up my car with gas just because it's nice to come home to that. And then I also clean my car out, because the last thing that you want is to come home, get into your car and find that one of your children left some kind of half-eaten food in there and now it really smells. So I give my car a little cleanup as well. Finally, let's talk about today, what I do to shake myself out of those post-vacation blues. If you're anything like me, they hit hard, and it is very difficult to transition back into your quote unquote normal life and out of vacation mode. So here are the things that I try to do. First of all, I really try to build in a cushion day or two between the time that we come home from vacation and the time that we need to resume normal day-to-day activities. So for example, if you're taking your vacation during a normal vacation week from school and you may leave for vacation on like a Saturday or Monday, I try to come home on Saturday or even Friday so that I can have a day or two to get back into the routine. I can get caught up on sleep. I can do the laundry, all of that stuff, so that it doesn't feel like such a hard shift between vacation mode and work mode or school mode. Another thing I try to do is I try to get my whole family back into their normal sleep habits as soon as possible. Those are often kind of set off while we're on vacation. We're staying up later, we're waking up later or even earlier if we're doing an activity in the morning. And that can really mess with you. So I try to get back into normal sleeping habits as soon as possible. And as I mentioned before about food and healthy eating, I also try to get back into healthy eating habits as soon as I can, because when we're on vacation, we may be indulging in food and drink that we wouldn't normally. Maybe our bodies are a little out of whack because of that. So I try to make sure that I'm right back into, the fruits and vegetables and the healthy proteins and all of that as soon as I can. And also water, replenish your water. When we're on vacation, we're not as good typically on how to sort of like get all that water in that we need to be getting because we're running around having fun. And also airplanes, they suck the moisture right out of you. So make sure when you get back from vacation, you're drinking a lot of water. One other thing I try to do with my family is when we first get back from a trip and we have that first meal together in our house, if you can still stand your family at this point after being on vacation with them, have a little powwow about what they enjoyed. What was your favorite thing that you did? What was your least favorite thing? What was your favorite meal that we had? What was your favorite experience? What would you want to go and do again if we went and had a similar vacation? Maybe share photos that we took on each other's phones and kind of like reminisce a little bit about that vacation. It helps to kind of make that vacation time feel like it's a little bit longer, even though you're already home. And finally, my number one top tip for how to shake those post-vacation blues: plan another one, plan another vacation. Who doesn't want to do that? Even if that vacation is a year or two out, it's great to have something to look forward to again. And if you need help, I'm a travel agent and I am happy to help you plan your next family trip or couples trip or solo trip if you want to do that. So thanks for listening again today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you need a travel agent that is type A so you don't have to be, I'm your girl. See you next time.